there and welcome. Good day, everyone. My name is Ida Lee, and this is Raw Emotions. And today I would like to talk to you about food. Um, the various diets I've, I've experienced with my daughter. Um, Unfortunately, right from the beginning, I nursed it for as long as I could. My milk started drying up because of all the stress, all of the hospital visits. We were in the hospital, for the first 17 days uh, from birth, and from there, it was almost every other weekend for a week to 2 weeks for the next 18 months that she would have been hospitalized. So my life has been the hospitals. And there really is something to this whole PTSD thing, and lights and buzzers, and yeah, that's another topic. um, but I was unable to nurse her, and I had to put her on formula. And it really hurt that there weren't any breast milk banks. I know that sounds crazy, but it didn't to me. It's food. It's the most natural substance you can give your baby. Why don't we have? We used to have wet nurses. I have no problem with wet nurses, and I was begging, any new moms that I could find for their breast milk. And unfortunately, I didn't have anyone that was receptive enough to want to share. So we had to go, on the formula route. And I encourage you, when you're at the store, pick up a can and just look at the back of those ingredients. Corn, sugar, dextrose, MSG, soy, wheat. Come on, it's not food, it's fake food. We are feeding our babies fake food. So, we're growing up has always been a part of her life. She's allergic to food. I wonder why. And really, before I understood the dynamics of food, she was on formula for 10 or 11 months, and from there we switched her to a soy-based formula. I'm sorry, no, not soy. She's allergic to soy. It was goat milk. And we did raw goat's milk for the longest time. I stumbled across this diet called the GAPS diet, GAPS, GAPS diet. And around this time, she had been finally given the diagnosis of eosinophilic esophagitis, EOE for short. For a period of about 10 months, she had been throwing up on average 9 times a day. 9 times a day was just the average, okay? The washing machine was going constantly. Yeah, that's a lot of clothes that you have to change. You have to change. There's nothing like that sensation of vomit sliding down your chest. Yeah, I don't think you ever get used to that sensation. Doctor after doctor after doctor I took her to. I really can't tell you how many we saw. And that's one thing I remember growing up. My mom really instilled in me, you don't like one diagnosis, you go get another. You don't like that second, go get a third opinion. By golly, you don't like that third opinion, go get a fourth one. What do you have to lose? You're the one who pays the doctor. So that has always, stuck with me. And so I just kept taking her, to different doctors, and I'm like, no, this is what's going on. I think it's food. And another hair again. And, I was asking them about food elimination diets, and the common response was, oh, no, food wouldn't do this. She can't be allergic to food. Something else has to be going on. There has to be other allergies or environmental, blah, 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 blah. Well, I finally just, took the bull by the horns and started doing my own food elimination diets. And what that is you take out, let's say dairy for a complete 2 weeks. I chose to do 3 weeks at a time. I wanted it completely out of her system, and then when you add it back in, you slowly add it back in and see what your response is. You know, it could be diarrhea, constipation. For us, it was immediate throwing up. Corn is a huge one for her. Corn's in everything. Um, at the time I was learning about corn, it had over 70 different names. Um, Absorbic acid, vitamin C can have corn in it. It can be derived from corn, so I have to make sure that it's made with tapioca. Um, Corn's and everything. It's a great filler. It's a great fake filler. um, and I kind of lost my train of thought there for a second. I know I'm talking about food, but yeah, see, this happens. This is real life. So, back to the doctors, back to the EOE. Oh yeah, well, to get this diagnosis, they do a biopsy of the esophagus, and I said no. I'm not going to put her through that, you know. And the doctor just looked at me like I just instantly had grown 5 heads, you know, was breathing fire, and she's like, "But we need this diagnosis. We need to know what's going on." And I said, "No, you know, you told me you think it's food. I can go home and fix that." And that was going back to, you know, my issues with fibromyalgia, and you know what I went through, finding, you know, going to 7 different doctors and being told it's all in your head. Your postpartum depression. He's almost a year old. You're depressed. Um, let's do exploratory surgery, you know, and finally, I think after the 7th doctor, I got the diagnosis of fibromyalgia, and you know, I was able to transition into a natural doctor. Had I not gone through that experience, I would not have been so open-minded to food and knowing what food can do to your system, or not do. And so, you know, we had gotten home from the hospital, and I was seeing a massage therapist at that time who had recommended I check out the GAPS diet. GAPS, GAPS diet. This is a bone broth and fermented food diet, and its intention is to heal the gut. Um, we did that for almost 2 years, and in this time period, we had also done camel's milk. Um, Camel's milk was a great addition to a lot of her healing. It's very expensive. I think we were spending over $800 a month just for a month's supply of camel's milk. It was actually cheaper for them to ship it to me than for me to drive to Marion, Michigan to get it. Um, so, you know, yeah, we did that. And then from there, I just, you know, the more I learned about food, that transitioned into us becoming vegans and whole foods. You know, and now that has transitioned into more of a whole food, plant-based fruit diet. I do a lot of juicing with her, whole fruit juicing. I actually have a juicer. I don't blend it up. So it's really good at the mastification. And she eats root vegetables. We do steamed broccoli. Well, that's not a root vegetable, but carrots, beets, sweet potatoes, white potatoes. I do also squash and zucchini with her, and cauliflower and broccoli. I don't do them as much. I do primarily the root vegetables for her. And then, of course, mashing up fruit. She loves berries. Raspberries are one of her favorites. Banana, though, hands down, I'd have to say, is like her go-to. You know, she could eat that all day and be happy. So she definitely gets 2 of those for breakfast. But, you know, the food has been, it's just been interesting. You know, my whole reason for doing the juice is, you know, fruit grows in the sun. It gets the nutrition from the ground, but it also gets the nutrition from the sun. It gets all the vitamins and nutrients. It's light. So it makes sense, you know, that you can live off of fruit. You can get all of your nutrition off of fruit. So that's why I juice with her. And in the beginning, since she does have the G tube, we were giving her something every hour, so some type of fruit juice. And my reasoning for that was, is I was wanting just to pump in and power pack as much as I could, into her little system. Um, we did that for 8 weeks, which is daunting in and of itself, on top of everything else. To try to remember, every hour to give her 4 ounces of a juice, and then on top of it to make sure you have enough juice. So we primarily have a nice system where we're juicing every other day currently, which it's working. But I did just step back from that every hour um, regimen that I had her on, and now she's getting 12 ounces every 3 hours. Um, I've broken it down, between juice and water. But that is nicer because now, rather than just giving it to her throughout the entire day, we're able to break it up. And I'm not giving it to her all at once. She gets 12 ounces over 10 minutes of time, sometimes 20 minutes, depending on what I'm doing and what we've got going on. But, I look at it as, a child, drinking some water or a glass of grape juice. Are they going to sit there and drink all 12 ounces? Maybe if they're really thirsty, but they'll probably have, 4 or 5 ounces, and maybe 5 or 6 minutes later finish it off. So that's, my reasoning for doing every, throughout the 10 minutes. And then she can put away food, let me tell you. I think she can out-eat any adult grown man. She gets 12 ounces for breakfast, and her food right now is in 20-ounce jars, and she eats 3 of those a day. And like I said, it's fruit and root vegetables. So yeah, she's getting a power packed lunch. Let me tell you. I do flaxseed oil for her omegas. She gets probably close to, I'd say, between 1 to 2 avocados a day. And then we also do coconut oil. We do a lot of the nut oils. And I also will soak nuts. My favorite are almonds to soak. They still have that nice crunch to them, but they're not that hard crunch. So they have that nice little, springy pop to them. And I'm able to blend those up small enough for her in the Vitamix blender that I have, to be able, for her to chew. If sometimes she does chew, you can hear, her those little seeds crunching between the teeth. So I try to give her, a nice variety and range of, fruits and some vegetables, and then, everything else that she needs, to stay healthy and strong, and to heal her gut. You have to find what's right for you. You have to figure it out. And we're all so different. So what's going to work for me necessarily isn't going to work for you, and what works for her isn't going to work for some other little child. It's balance, and it's having the patience, and it's so interesting, what we're patient about and what we just want to marathon through, it's it's interesting. And this whole food journey, I thought I knew a lot about food. I had no idea until I started, going through integrative nutrition, IIN, and becoming a health coach. And I'm just blown away, how much food plays in our lives. And I just wish that we were taught this. It's a shame that we're not taught food and nutrition. We have to seek it out. Usually you have to have some ailment, or life-altering, diagnosis to really, say, hey, I got to look into this. Let's investigate this. And it's sad that it has to get to that point. If we go into this knowing how to properly, give ourselves nutrition and feed ourselves, then we are not going to have this autoimmune, debacle that's going on. The thing that, I'll leave you with today, and this is going to be really hard to understand and really hard to wrap your head around. But any food that's not a vegetable or a fruit or a nut or a bean, a legume, it's fake. If it's processed, it's all fake. They add your nutrients to it and your vitamins. But when you look at everything that's in there, all of that is converted into straight sugar. It's all carbs. So while you're eating that Big Mac from McDonald's, Burger King, I don't eat out. Burger King, Big Mac. First of all, look at how many calories are in that, and then everything that you're consuming, it's all processed. The bread, the meat, yeah, there might be a pickle. The lettuce, is it GMO? Does it have pesticides on it? It's not real. Um, and that's where we're at in our society with our food. It's understanding that what we're told isn't the truth, and we need to understand food and to get back to the basics, and we need to learn how to garden and be able to sustain our own family needs, and yeah, it's all about being accountable and taking the action necessary to provide for yourself for everything, for everything. So yeah, I hope you all have a great day. She is still taking her nap. Yes, she is. So I thought I'd come out real quick and talk about food. But yeah, stay strong, smile hard, love, have a great day.